Yes, Group 2 season at Interlagos. Joined with that, he's been on commentary. It's me, Robert, and Ash Wilson.
How do?
So, yeah. First time I'm hosting a stream, so we'll see how it goes. We've done the practice start, so now we are waiting for the actual start, which will probably be in the next few minutes.
It's going to be. I think it's going to be a very interesting race to see where people stack up in the standings and see what the possible races are going to be throughout the season, the possible battlegrounds.
Yes. The Group 2s as well, very different to the Group 3 cars that most of the drivers will be used to.
I've done a few laps in the Group 2 Lexus, obviously having some of the Rod and Pollux guys out there in Group 2 cars, and they are completely different. There are some of the tracks out there where some corners are completely transformed in the Group 2 compared to Group 3. A lot more aerodynamics. So it's actually I think this is going to be fast and furious race to watch.
Yeah, that's hopefully. It's some very quick drivers and some the likes of Resite, Vilsec, Leica. There's a few new people. Actually, Sean's a driver I hadn't seen much of before.
I've raced a little bit with Sean before. He's a very clean driver. I think he could be quick in the seat, but it will be a step up, no doubts. So it'll take a bit of time for him to get used to the actual league that this is, and with the amount of drivers that are actually quick, like your Vilsecs, your Racer Tays in this world, who are some of the quickest guys in GTS.
Yeah. Another thing as well to note is that we've got the qualifying, which is the first for GTS. I think we did it in the Classic Cup, but in the main GTS series, we've not done qualifying before. Be interesting to see if some of the drivers or some of the cars are set up more for qualifying or more for the race, because there's always the possibility that some people are quicker in qualifying than they are in the race, or they get qualifying wrong and they start a bit out of position.
I think a lot of people will still set their cars up for quali. I think 99% of people will. It would make absolutely no sense at all setting your car up for a quali run when you've got 22 laps to come, when you just want to banzai one lap special.
Yeah.
It would be like Lewis Hamilton setting up his Mercedes for a banzai one lap and not setting up 60 laps of the Nürburgring.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too good. I don't think there's any points for qualifying either, so with all the points being in the race, that probably will be where the main focal point is. But what do you reckon of the qualifying? Do you reckon they'll be around this track? Will they be trying to get in the slipstream, or would they rather be on their own, in their own little space?
If it was me personally, I would prefer my own space. Because then that way you're less likely to get involved in somebody's accident, and you can set your own pace. Whereas if you've got someone behind you or you're behind somebody, you're more than likely you're gonna be either having pressure from behind to get out of the way, or you're going to be trying to pass somebody whilst they're on a fast lap and you might be quicker than them. So that might hinder you. So if it was me personally, I think you want to be on the emptiest bit of track possible.
Yeah. With a track like this, the slipstream's not exactly too much of a hindrance, because there's quite long straights out of Junsao all around to the first goes all flat out. So if you're in the slipstream, you can gain a fair bit of time from that bit, and the same on the straight between turns 3 and 4. You can get a bit of time there, but it might hold you up a little in the middle sector. Not so sure what the dirty air's like in these cars.
I think the dirty air could play a bit of a part in the race today. I definitely think the only places you'll see real overtaking opportunities, as you said, come out of Young Shao and into the Senna S's, and coming down to turn 4, Skido de Largo. They're the only two real main overtaking opportunities on the track. It's going to be difficult to overtake in the technical sections later on in the lap.
Yep. Alright, so here we go then. Qualifying has begun. There's 10 minutes for the drivers to set as quick a lap as possible to determine where they start in the race. It looks like Leica is leading us away at the moment. Is the first driver on the track. But they're all quite bunched up actually, all together in the middle. But we'll see the lap if they try to back off to try and find space. But Leica's the one with the clean air at the moment.
Leica, the flying Finn. It'd be interesting to see how he does in the Honda. It's a quick car, the Honda. I think it eats its tyres a little bit more, but it's definitely a quick car. It's very, very planted from my experience of driving it. I do like the testing. I think it's a testing livery. I believe.
I think it is.
It just looks stunning.
It does look quite good, yeah.
It does look good, but I think there'll be a different livery you see at St. Croix next week.
Oh yeah, it will be very different. Like starting the lap now on the charge down toward the first corner. I'll talk you through a lap, but I haven't actually done a lap around here in these cars, so not a clue what I'm on about. But here we go through turn 3. It's looking tidy at the moment, so he's half the job of getting a good lap is to make sure it's tidy. We are through turn 4. We just ride on board with Leica now as we rise around at turn 4 into turn 5. It's a bit of a double apex. I think it's turn 5 at 6. And then downshift again midway through. And back end got a little bit squirrely there. Nothing too out of control. It's so far so good for Leica. Rolling it around at turn 7. Into Pico de Pato, I know that one. I think Leica was on the grass a little in the braking zone there into Pico de Pato. I know that's quite bad usually, it can spin you around, but Leica seems to have gotten away with that relatively well.
It is one of the few places on the track you can actually really gain some time.
I think,
but it's just towing the line.
Yeah, I reckon the middle sector's probably where most of the lap time's going to be gained. But like goes around a 24.4, decent lap. What's Fifi going to do?
It's a good time. I'm busy watching Tay. He's heading towards the start-finish line now.
Let's race a Tay. Always a contender for pole. And a solid lap, but only just quicker than Vilsek, and it's a spin around 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Although Leica just half a second off his two teammates, I'm sure Leica's going to be wanting to close that gap down. Astra puts himself up into 5th, Grim into 9th.
That's a good time there from Ed in 5th place, 25-2. It's a good marker. There's still plenty of time to get that down a little bit more.
There is a couple of drivers into the lap here. I think Super Bounty's on a lap now, and Tracy's still on an out lap. So I think Tracy was just started a bit later. It'll be interesting because they've kept the fuel and tyre wear on in this qualifying. So it'll be interesting to see if any of the drivers. Yes, Iceman, fuel and tyre wear is on for qualifying. So it will be interesting to see if any of the drivers opt to go and pit in. Get fresher tyres and try and get the fuel load as light as possible.
Yeah, I think you can definitely go faster if you come in and just get rid of some of the fuel. Leica's got a little bit quicker, 24.
Yes, yep. Claws that gap down, but Vilsek's on the lap as well as he's coming around to the final corner, up toward the line. And he's actually 2 seconds, he's quite a bit down, he's actually Vilsek on the lap, 2 seconds down. Tay in the pit, so he'll be changing onto some rubber. We're already nearly halfway through this qualifying session, 5 minutes to go. But Fifi's done a decent job on his lap into 4th place, and only just ahead of Astra. I've just seen the gap between Fifi and Astra. of 0.001.
VR goes up to 4th.
Onto that second
so
right.
5th. The third, I'm tempted to coin the Rodden Pollock's Human Centipede at 7, 8, and 9. Astro ahead of Smalley, ahead of Grimm. That's a good effort, that from Smalley, and this is his first main race. It's his first Group 2 race as well, I believe. So that's a good effort. Very good effort.
Tracy up to the line, but didn't have the best of laps. I wonder if he made a mistake in there. These cars have less tyre wear. I think they might do around here. And plus they're not going to be doing multiple laps on end in the qualifying, so they'll be doing a lap and then probably pitting in, getting some fresher tyres on, which is probably why it looks like the tyre wear's so low.
Yeah, I imagine there'll be a lot of people coming in at the end of this lap, I'd imagine, and getting some fresh rubber on for the last couple of laps. And take advantage of where the fuel will be at its lowest.
Astro in the pits. I think Astro is going to be going for one more lap. I think around about now, coming into the final few laps of qualifying, Grimm sets another personal best.
I think you've got time at this point for 2 more flying laps. In fact, possibly even 3.
Let's see, Tracy's...
No, hang on.
Oh.
I'm counting up. No, it'll definitely be 2. That's me getting my maths wrong.
Alright, Tracy coming around the final sector, just going to so half a second up on his last. He's currently at the back of the pack at the moment, so he'll want to improve, try and find some more positions. He comes round and up to the line, across the line. Does he improve on his time and his position? No, he doesn't. He's actually down in the final sector. And he's gone straight on at the first corner, so Tracy just struggled to slow the car down there. And doesn't look to have been the best qualifying for Tracy at the moment. But still got that very small gap over his teammate Vilsek, and Leica still holding out the Spinorama 1, 2, 3.
Racer T is actually up on his lap. He's heading into Young Chow now. He's only up by about 20 hundredths of a second. He's up by very, very little. He is, however, in the slipstream of Grimm, so that might help him.
And it might be improving by a little, but when you look at some of the gaps on the field, just that little bit of extra can help. And he does improve a 23.6 to help secure his provisional pole position. Now, Reste, if he chooses to go for another lap, if Reste chooses to go for another lap, he might not have the tyre wear. His tyres might start to drop a bit. He's backing off now, so I'm not so sure whether Reste will get another lap if he pits in for fresh tyres.
One of my former commentary partners, Rod Hammerbush.
Yeah.
Reste uses aimbot.
Yeah.
That's controversial.
Right, here comes Leica improving in the middle sector just by a little bit, but we've seen that the finest of margins can make the difference here. So will this be Leica's final shot at pole position? Vilsek is on an outlap, so he's also going to have a crack at it, and I think the rest of him might be done, so we'll see. But here comes Leica charging up toward the line. Can he get any closer to his teammates? The tiniest of improvements on Leica's time there.
That's minute, a thousandth of a second.
Alright, Vilsek, I think he's going to be getting himself into the mindset to go for that pole position. He's 2/10 back, so he's going to have to dig deep and find it to improve over Reste's lap. But here he goes, then at the end of his outlap, and here he goes, starting what will be his final flying lap. Under a minute to go through turn 1 and turn 2 in the centre S chicane, which leads you straight round the Curva de Sol.
Oh, Astro's improved to 25.1. He's up to 6 now. That's a good time.
To the top 6 is Vilsek up. He's up and he's purple at the moment in Sector 1. Only just purple by less than a tenth. This is going down to the wire for Vilsek. I'm not sure if Reste's on a lap, but we'll see if Vilsek can do it.
Reste has just started a lap now with just under 20 seconds left. This is going to be a classic shootout.
It's game on then. 2 Spinorama drivers, Vilsek versus Reste, the American versus the Brit, but who's going to come out on top?
I'll keep an eye on Reste's time. He's just coming down into Esquiro de Largo now. He's up by a tenth.
Vilsek's looking pretty strong, but is he going to be up in the middle sector? No, Vilsek's actually down in sector 2, so he might not have it. He might not have what it takes to take pole position. He looked a bit cautious going through Junsao there. Rises himself up the hill. On the approach to the line, is it going to be enough for Vilsek to take the pole position away at the dying embers of this qualifying session for the pre-season? No, it's not. He's 3 tenths down on his time. That's his run over. So what's the rest of the day? I think Rest has pretty much got the pole position. Then Havoc improves. Goes into 6th, pipping Astra in the end. But what's the rest of the day? Is he improving in the middle sector? Oh, that's just giving me mixed messages there. My screen it said best, but then it was down by 2 tenths. And he's got a bit of traffic with Rubs and VR. Look to have a moment coming out of Junsao. I don't know how much that held him up though.
I think he has still his foot planted to the floor.
Yeah. They don't lose his concentration, and he does improve just about, puts him under 23.5, and that's the pole position time, it looks like. Because Leica's done, VR crosses the line to Don, and that is the qualifying ending. So there it is then. Rest pole position, Vilsek on the front row with him, with Leica third. So a spinner armour 1, 2, 3 for this pre-season race. There you go then, lining up on the grid. It's not a long run on, it's not the longest of runs into the first corner, and second place starts on the inside. If Vilsek can get a good launch, he might be able to send it into turn 1. Here we go then. The revs build, the tension rises for this pre-season race here in Interlagos. And Tracy's gone.
Oh no, that's a shame.
It's still on the grid. Lights out, and away we go. Restier and Vilsek both look to have a bit of wheel spins, a lot of movement going around, but I think Tez managed to get the jump over Vilsek as he rises into the first corner. Vilsek tucks in behind him like old said, but Leica runs a bit wide. VR manages to get down the inside, and there's a lot of action going on in the middle.
In the midfield especially, I'm just busy keeping an eye on it. Everyone, I think, though, has got through the first turn nice and clean.
They do all look to have gotten through there. Well, up at the front, so Resta has managed to get the start and has managed to stay ahead of Vilsek. He's got VR and Leica all very close onto the back of each other. Leica's going to want to try and get back into the top 3 to lock out the podium for Spinner Armo. We've got a lot of movement. Super Bounty looking for a move on Sean there, but not quite the best place to do it at turn 5, so I think didn't quite go through it. There was a penalty I saw from someone in the background. Grim on the inside, actually on the inside of Fifi, but Fifi holds him off just for now. Just outside the top 10 is Grim. They're going to try and find their way back up, and now here comes Marco down the inside of Grim into Pico de Pato. Marco, does he get down the inside? Yes, he does get down the inside. Grim loses the position there. Although fighting back is Grim as they run round into Junsao. They're still not giving up at Grim. I think not quite got it in the end.
You've got to
Marco with a spin though.
You've got to time that nicely if you're going to make an overtake into Young Chow.
Yeah, Marco.
Time that.
Yeah, Marco looked like he had it, but ultimately not quite, with a bit of a tank slapper as he came out onto the straight. Now Smalley going down the inside of Marco into turn 1, and he's done it.
That's a good move from Smalley. Brilliant move. Oh, Grim and Fifi are side by side.
Yep. Grim's not giving up on Fifi yet. He's all over him in the slipstream now as they head down the back straight into toward turn 4. Is Grim going to be close enough for a move into turn 4? Pulls to the inside, but I don't think he's quite got close enough, and not quite alongside. In fact, Marco has gotten ahead of Smalley.
Grim's all over Fifi like Rod Halbush is on fried chicken. This is a brilliant battle.
So then, meanwhile, who's up at the front? Resate and Vilsek have closed 3 seconds ahead of Leica, who has managed to get out of Via, and everyone is still also close within each other. And Smalley, yep, lost the place to Marco, I think into turn 4. Marco just fought back at him. Sean and Havoc are very close, practically bumper to bumper as they head around towards Junsao now.
This is, tell you what, this has been very, very action-packed first couple of laps. And it's been, on the whole, quite clean as well.
Yeah.
And that is brilliant to see. Lika's now back up the third ahead of VRC.
Yep. Meanwhile, we've got Sean who's closing right in on the slipstream on the back of Havoc. He pulls into the slipstream. Does he pull to the inside or is he not quite close enough? No, Sean does not. Havoc did not feel the need to defend, and he did need to because he didn't. Sean not quite gone for it, but he's very close to someone. I think someone just went a little bit wide there, and I think Smalley has also gone a little bit wide into the first corner.
Yeah, Smalley's just aim for today for him is just having a nice clean race, just getting a clean finish. Because if he can do that, I believe there will be places he'll pick up places further on down the race.
Yep, and I believe heavy damage is on as well. So if anyone does pick up damage, they are going to have to limp it back to the pits, and that's always the advice of this: is just sort of try not to pick up damage, and there's always the chance that other people will. Sean's still trying to have a look on Havoc, not quite close enough though. And now Astra is all over the back of Sean.
It's a tightly packed midfield battle. This is very, very good to watch.
In fact, just looking at the damage, Sean has picked up a bit of rear damage, just a little bit on the rear aero, but I wanted to see how much that's affected him. I don't know when he picked it up, but I don't think he's pitted with it, and usually with aero damage, it's not too bad. It's down a little.
Super Bounty has damage on the front, so whether they've had a little bit of contact somewhere early on.
It was a fair...
Can't see anyone else with damage, so it must have been... Oh no, sorry,
Fifi has just decided to slice his way through turn 2 and make his own layout, and has been penalised accordingly with it. I think he just went... I think he just... Well, looks at things, I think he just went a little bit deep. But Sean trying to defend from Astra. Astra tries to get the cut back onto turn 4 as he rises up through the hill, and he does get him on the inside, which forces Sean to the outside now, and Astra does get ahead, and a fantastic move there. Did the switchback on Sean, and the Rod and Pollock driver gets up into 8th.
Brilliant move from Med. He's a very, very clean driver, very strong driver. He'll pick up points regularly this season without a doubt. He's absolutely fun. He's just a very, very good driver. And my former commentary buddy from last season as well.
Yep, let's hope Astra can stay away from any pit walls though in this one. Fifi. Now it's Fifi's. Now it's Fifi's turn on Sean, and Grimm's very close in the background. Yeah, so we've got Grimm, Fifi and Sean all very close together in the slipstream, and I think Sean's in the pit. Sean does get into the pits, as does Super Bounty, so a very early stop there, and I wonder if that's for that damage that we think they both picked up together.
You'd wonder if it is. They haven't refueled or anything, so...
Sean on the hard tyres, and I don't think he put any fuel in. Super Bounty's car looks a bit broken. It's just driving along the pit wall in turn 3. I'm not so sure what's going on there.
I've never seen that before coming out the pit lane.
I've never seen that either. I'm really not sure what's going on. But Smalley going down the inside on Marco into turn 4. Not quite enough, but Marco runs a little bit wide, loses it slightly on the curb, and Smalley gets through. And
Ivor says that Astral's doing well on his birthday today, and happy birthday to Astral.
Happy birthday, Astra.
That's the second birthday in a week. That's a brand new one on me.
Grimm and Fifi are very close together. These two still battling for that position to get further up in the top 10. Grimm almost looked like he was going for the move and picking up Hatter. Didn't quite want to fully commit to that one. Fifi still carrying that penalty on that he got from turn 2 a lap ago. But it looks like very...
Astral's now on the back of Havoc here for 6th place.
Yeah.
This is going to be a good little battle here. See how Havoc, another one of the OFR commentators, does.
Yeah, half a second back and gaining in ever more on the straight, but not enough to pull himself alongside. What about Fifi and Grimm? Just less than half a second, but still not enough to get through. Grimm runs wide at turn 1, and that's going to cost him. That's going to cost him a run onto the next straight.
Just needs to recharge and start again.
Meanwhile, Astra getting closer and closer to Havoc, but still not close enough. Although Havoc running a little bit wide, I know. From personal experience, the penalties are quite strict around here, as Havoc's just found out.
Yeah, you get a penalty for running wide out of turn 4, which you lose time running wide, so why get a penalty for losing time? Hey ho.
And apparently Grim is still hating cats.
Who knew?
Yeah.
That's a brand new one.
Who would have thought that Grim hates cats?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard that one before in my life.
Neither. Meanwhile, Astro and Havoc still very close to each other, but Havoc, I think, had a little bit of a moment for and Sao might harm his run a little. In the slipstream again is Astro, but he's about the same distance back as he was on this occasion last time, so I still don't think it's going to be quite enough for Astro to get himself ahead of Havoc.
No, he's not in.
No, he's not.
That was a strange line.
A bit of a dummy there, it seemed, almost. I think it's about now that the pit window would be. As Sean and Marco, two teammates, going side by side down the main straight, and Sean gets ahead into turn 1. Marco with a bit of damage on the rear, and Sean after his pit stop. No damage, and on the hard tyres, so he's going to be going long. We'll see if that pays off. We'll keep an eye on what Sean's can do in this race from the hard tyres, but he has now gone ahead of Marco.
It's a bit of a strange strategy going on the hard tyres. I mean, it's pre-season, so I suppose it's there to be tried if you've had damage early on. I mean, he's lost his first 2 laps out of the pit lane is 27.5 and 27.8. No, but I don't know. They might get quicker as they wear down. That's something we want to keep an eye on, without doubt.
Astro and Havoc were getting all touchy-feely for a moment then, but it doesn't seem like it was enough for Astro to get ahead, but he's still getting very close and he's keeping up with Havoc. Is he going to be able to get the run out of Jinsan onto the main straight this time? I think he's just that 10th closer to Havoc at this stage than he was on the last lap. Will they go into the pits? I think it's going to be a roundabout now that they're going to start to see them in the pits, and Havoc again making it look like he was pitting in before ducking out of it at the last minute. But Astro not yet close enough.
Bag post on the stream mentioning about the new liveries. There are some very good looking liveries.
There are, yeah.
Although maybe being biased, the Robin Pollock's livery looks ace. Grim may hate cats, but he does a very good job on liveries. I
know, admit, I do quite like the Rod and Pollock livery. That's quite nice. But yeah, Fifi and Smalley are the next 2 drivers to pit in. Fifi not putting any fuel in the car. Smalley I don't think has put any fuel in either. I also quite like Sean and Marco's livery. I'm not sure what team they're on, but yeah, I quite like their livery. I think they've done a good job on that one.
Yeah, looks alright actually. It's definitely not the worst I've seen.
I quite like it, mate. But yeah, anyway, meanwhile, back to the racing. Astro's still very close to Havoc, still trying to find their way. And they're closing in on Rubs, who I believe is Havoc's teammate. So I wonder if there's any team communication going on there.
I don't think there will be. There's a bit of a gap up to the Jacks of nearly 2 seconds, so to be honest, this is just a straight fight between Havoc and Ed, seeing who gets the position.
VR is the next driver in the pits. See if anyone else joins him. Rubs continues on. Havoc doesn't, but Astro does. So Astro goes into the pits and he's probably going to try the undercut on Havoc. Can't quite overtake him on the straight. So he's going to maybe try a battle in the pit lane. Grim is also in the pit, so I wonder if this was the strategy for the Rod and Pollock's drivers to pit in on this lap anyway.
I tell you what, man, the three spin around drivers are just pulling away from field, and yes, they haven't pitted yet. It's lap 9. The racer tape, this tyres are very much up and cooked.
Marco, just watching Marco in a battle with Fifi. Marco looked a little bit squirrely in turn 1. How are you?
Yes, Ivor, there are no Team Hamazaki livery. There is no pink bright enough to be Team Hamazaki livery.
At the mobile mirror limit.
Racer tail ran wide out of Yun Chao. There is literally only 2 seconds between the top 3.
And Vilsek is gaining. Fieste made a bit of a mistake, and in the slipstream he's going to gain even more, so we might have a battle on. An inter-team battle for the race lead. Vilsek not close enough though.
This is going to be an interesting little inter-team rivalry to see who's going to be quicker at certain parts. I wonder if they're going to go for the one-stopper here.
Just a quick check. Just a quick check, because Havoc's in. We'll see if Astro can get past him in the pit stops with the undercut. Is it been enough for Astro to get ahead of Havoc? As Havoc in the pits, he's now accelerating out of the pits, and I think Astro, he might have done it. And I think he has, yeah. Astro has gone ahead of Havoc through the pit stop. So he has jumped in by doing the undercut, just picked that one lap earlier, and it seems to have worked. And 3 seconds clear of Havoc as well, and now even Grimm's going to try it around the outside, and Grimm gets ahead, so Havoc has lost out to Grimm and Astro in the pit stops.
Astro has a very, very good talent at saving tyres indeed. It's something he's always been very good at, but it's gonna suit him well here as well. It's definitely going to suit him well. He's definitely done a good job to get the 5th. It'll be interesting to see if he can make any progress on VR and 4th.
I reckon the Spinorama drivers might be going for the one stop, or the Leica pits in now. Ooh. So interesting, because we're halfway through the race, they still haven't pitted, and they're also 20 seconds clear of the next driver. So I think they could all pit in and still come out in the top 3 spots.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be the case. Leica's out at the pit exit. VR is not even
it's just getting to the first corner.
but Leica here is going to try and get the undercut on Racer T and Vilsek.
Well, what could work into Leica's favour is if Vilsek and Racer T start having a proper battle that will slow them down, as long as they don't hit each other, because, you know, the guy behind them is their boss, so...
Ivor says about Astro, good at keeping tyres, even better at hitting pit lanes.
Yep.
That is harsh, but true.
He's done a good job to avoid the pit lane so far.
He has. He's done very well.
In fact, Grimm and Havoc on the inside as they head up round the hill into turn 5, but I think Havoc just backed out. It's not an orthodox overtake spot, but Havoc's going to try and get him on the exit there as he run around into turn 7 down the inside. Goes Havoc, and Havoc, has he got him? I think he has just about gotten ahead of Grimm. Does Grimm fight back? Not quite enough in there. Great, clean, respectful race in there.
Racer T's in, and Vilsek carries on.
Interesting. So differing strategies up at Spinorama.
Oh, this is definitely going to be interesting. See, Racer T still fueling. Leica is now heading down towards turn 1. This is going to be tight.
It's going to be close. Racer T just on the pit exit. Leica into turn 1, but I think T's just got it. Leica can see him on the pit exit. Oh, it's going to be very tight if they do. Leica is going to have probably the better run onto the straight as T comes out the pits. It's going to be very tight. Now has Leica got enough? He's closing in, but no, it's not enough there for Leica to get ahead of Racer T.
That was tight. If he had another lap, then Leica would be very much ahead of Racer T now.
So
be interesting to see what Vilsek can do on 12-lap-old tyres.
The undercut does seem to be the more powerful one. We've seen drivers do the undercut. It's often worked, because we saw Havoc losing out to Astro and Grimm in that situation, and Ted nearly losing out to Leica. So could staying out just a little bit longer cost Vilsek, because Ted and Leica are already starting to reel in Vilsek quite a bit. It's 10.3 seconds, and it was about 12 seconds when Ted came out the pits between them.
The only thing that might pay Vilsek now is he will have younger tyres come the end of the race. Vilsek is in. Vilsek's
in. Now then, question is, has Ted done enough? Has Leica been able to get ahead of Vilsek? It's going to be quite close. I think Tish probably haven't, from what we've seen so far, with the undercut looking the more powerful of the strategies. Let's see, into turn 1, both Leica and Ted go. Vilsek's leaving the pit lane now, so it's going to be... But I think Leica might have him as well as Racer T, so I think Vilsek might have dropped off behind them. It's going to be tight. There's Vilsek in the pit lane. They're going to be side by side on the pit exit. Leica on the outside, and Leica has got him. Vilsek filters in behind him.
The Finnish Yoda is up into second place.
Yeah. And this is interesting because, no offence to Leica, but so far it seems Vilsek and Rezde have just been that little bit quicker than him this weekend. So we'll see if Ter could just extend the gap out. He might have a decent shot at a win, because he seems Ter's closest chance at a win might be Vilsek. And of course, I don't think there'll be any real team orders here, because it's not like they're fighting a different driver for the win. They're all within the same team, and they're all comfortably ahead of anyone else. Because all three have now pitted in, and they've come out 5.5 seconds behind the first non-Spinorama driver.
Yeah, I'm just reviewing, just going back through the field to see where there's any battles. And to be fair, it seems fairly even spread out. I think the closest battle could be Smalley in 10th to Sean in 9th. That could be a interesting watch, because obviously Sean's still on the hard tyres, of course. Having a look in these times, he's had about 2 or 3 laps where he's dipped into the 28s, but he's been mostly on the 27s. So that's not bad. That's not bad, but just looking at the stream, Bagpuss says it might be quicker on track than Leica, but not many quicker to adapt strategy than the flying fin.
Although
that's something to bear in mind.
Leica might have just heard us and is now off to prove us wrong, because he set a purple first sector and he's closing the gap down to 10. He's built up a bit of a margin to Vilsek, so I wonder if...
Oh, Smalley's going around the outside of Sean into the centre S's. Oh, Sean defends.
Not quite enough, we'll see.
This is going to be building into a good battle, I reckon, for 9th place.
Yep, the Nissan GTR versus the Lexus. We'll see which of the two cars is quicker. Of course, with these Group 2s getting very close, but not quite close enough. With these Group 2s, there's only 3 different manufacturers across the field. It's either a Honda NSX, a Nissan GTR, or a Lexus.
This is going to be an interesting battle of wits to see who can hold who off.
There we go then. Is Smalley going to be able to just try and keep with him and then try and get the exit out of Junsao? He's going to try and maybe get the exit out of him here as they rise up to peak at a Pato, but not quite close enough. Smalley going for it. Almost going for it down the inside there. That would have been fantastic if he got it right, but as we've seen in real life Formula 1, it can very easily go wrong there.
Oh, he's trying to get up the inside of Young Chow.
Oh, he's almost looked like it. I think he might have just forced Sean just a little bit wide, but has that allowed Sean the better exit to go in just that little bit further wide than Spine? I think it has. Smalley taking very wide line as they go around and onto the straight. Much wider than Sean now in the slipstream. That gap's going to start coming down, but is it going to be coming down by enough? No, I don't think so.
Ooh, this is so close. This is very close. This is a very, very good battle.
Just a little bit too deep for Smalley, but he's going to be at the slipstream yet again. He's going to be even closer than he was the last time. Sean feels the pressure and looks to defend, but Smalley's committing to around the outside, but not quite enough there. We saw.
This is a very good battle.
It's a fantastic battle. Smalley to the inside, although he looked at it. I think he's just filling up Sean's mirrors, just reminding him, hey, look, I am still here. I will go for it if you make a mistake. So
meanwhile, Racer Tay starting to break away from the Finnish Yoda and Vilsek.
And Vilsek's dropping off just that little bit now to like. In fact, VR's in now. Is VR's first pit stop, or did he pit earlier on in there? It's his second.
It's his second.
Astro's in again as well. I wonder if that means
his second stop as well.
Yep, and Havoc's in again. So Havoc this time, I think, realising the power at the undercut, not wanting to be exposed to it again, so has decided to pit in with Astro and VR. And Fifi is another driver in, and Grim didn't pit in, did he? Grim stayed out.
Pitted.
Smalley is in though.
Hats off to VR here in 4th place. He's had a very, very solid run. He's not been really that featured. He's on his own in 4th. He's got nobody around him. It's a very, very quiet race for him.
In fact, Grim...
It's probably the race you want, I suppose.
Yeah, he's just not had a horrible race. He's just sort of kept to his own lap times. Set some rather consistent lap times. Just looking at his times at 25.5, 25.5, 25.3, 25.0. They're all relatively consistent. Just kept it on the track, and he's found himself quite comfortably in fourth.
Yeah, that's consistent. That's a very, very good. That's very, very good times, and it'll be a very, very good start. The season, okay, it's only pre-season, but it's nice to get a good result on the board, no matter what, whether it be pre-season or the last race of the season.
We have got Vilsek and Leica getting very close. Vilsek's responded to the fact that Leica was pulling out the gap and has massively reduced it to 3/10. Leica pulls to the inside to defend, keeps it more toward the middle of the track, gradually drifts across to the racing line, knowing Vilsek's not quite close enough to do anything about it. Leica holds himself in, Grimm pits in just a lap after his teammate Astro, so we'll see that drops Grimm down. And here comes Vilsek in the slipstream as he rides up the hill into turn 5. And he's not quite close enough to Leica to get through here. They do not want to be taking each other out because, like I say, Leica is the team boss, I believe, in there. So the last person you want to hit is, you know, the guy that hires you.
Sean's in the pit lane. He's finally got rid of them hard tyres. And he's out on a set of softs.
He's on a set of softs, and I think he's going to go for a bit of a blast until the end of the race and try and just set whatever lap times he can. Smalley into the top 10 now, so a solid race from him.
That's a good race from Smalley. You know, he's had a good race. It's a quiet race, which is exactly what he was after at the start of the day. So,
and That'll
do him. He's had some good battles as well.
Yep.
But he's very much kept himself to himself. Nice job.
Vilsek just went a little bit deep into the first corner. That's cost him a little bit of time. And the joy of watching these Spinorama drivers is that when they're racing each other, they have to be pinpoint precision with everything they do. They're braking, they're turning, they're accelerating, because just the tiniest little error and you can drop a good couple of time away from them, because they're all so in a class of their own. They have to be precise in everything they do when they're racing each other, otherwise they'll start to drop off.
Yeah, indeed, and it just proves that there's three drivers who are very, very evenly matched in Racer Taylika and Vilsek.
And hello, Phil Babbage. But yeah, I think that's what makes them so good, is when they're racing each other. It really pushes them that far, and that's probably why they've ended up being so good, so on their own. But it is a joy to watch when they go for it. And hopefully this is what the season will look like. Well, not that one team will run away with it, but, you know, we see some good racing all throughout.
It's interesting how they're the only team as well running the Honda. That's going to be an interesting one to watch, seeing as the majority of teams have went for the Nissan.
I think like I say, I don't do the Group 2s more often, so I'm not like up to scratch on my knowledge of them, but I believe the Lexus is the sort of probably the more common one. I think it's the middle one.
It's the all-rounder. It's the car that does everything well, not one particular strong point. Everything's a strong point. It's a bit like the Group 3 Porsches, a bit like that. The Group 3 Porsches, not the best car, but it's the best all-rounder. It just does everything solid.
Yep.
And obviously, Rod and Pollock to run the Lexus. I've got a vested interest in them, of course. And it's been a very, very solid run for Astro, Grimm and Smalley today.
You run the Lexus in the Group 3 as well, don't you, Rod and Pollock?
Do indeed. And the Beginners Cup as well.
Oh, Vilsek, sorry just to interrupt there, as they went round to Jinsao. Vilsek touched the grass a little, luckily managed to hold it and didn't go spinning off uncontrollably, but he's dropped a second back behind Leica now.
By the way, we've got a new nickname for Astro, hashtag Team Pitwall. Thank you, Ivor. Yeah.
I believe the decision to go with the NSX with Spinorama was, I believe, more Tay's choice, because he likes the NSX Group 2.
I've driven the NSX, and it is a very good car. It's very, very lively, but it's a very good car to drive.
Meanwhile, there's a battle heating up to be in the top 10. Sean is not managing to dump Rubs all too much, and Marco's there or thereabouts. And in fact, Smalley in 9th place is losing just a little bit of time to the 2 cars behind him. So that'll be an interesting battle to see develop over the final 2 laps to see who can get into the top 10. I mean, I know this is a pre-season out and there's points on offer, but it would be the final few points in the season.
It's ultimately going to be bragging rights for the season as Fifi finds a new route for the Senna S's. That's the rallycross version, I've been told.
Ah. I don't think that's quite the first time he's done that. I don't know whether it's like he's just not confident enough on the braking, or does just not slow down enough, or whether he thinks that's the way the track goes.
Or if he's just over driving.
It could be that as well, yeah.
Yeah, Grim in 7th, he's done a very good job today. It's been a nice solid run. He's got nobody around him. He's 8 seconds behind Havoc and 4.5 away from Fifi. It's a good run from 7th place.
Sean and Marco in the fight to not be last in this race is getting very interesting. I hope Marco was almost certain not to hit his teammate there. Resite and the Spinorama drivers lead still as they head on to the penultimate lap. Yeah, we've got Sean and Marco, who has a little bit of a tank slapper on the traction, trying to fight to not be the last place driver in the field.
This is going to be the battle to watch towards the end of the race. It's a team rivalry as well, I believe. Yeah,
it will be to just see who's better.
Even if it's just bragging rights for the opening race.
Though I suppose the higher you finish in this pre-season, then it gives you a bit of a confidence boost for the season ahead. If you have a solid race, you're motivated and ready to go for the next one, whereas if you have a miserable one, you'll be kind of dreading the start. So I suppose having a good pre-season here really can motivate you to push and maybe try and continue that momentum into the actual season, which I suppose is what the drivers will be wanting.
Yes, it's actually been a very, very good race today from everybody.
And it's been really clean as well. They've been doing some solid racing without much contact, which is what we love to see. Although very close still, Vilsek and Leica practically touching each other around the curve. So Leica definitely needs to be defensive, and on the final lap, it's all or nothing. Vilsek versus Leica. Vilsek's going to try it around the outside. Not quite enough there. Does Vilsek have the space on the outside? Yes, he does. Leica leaves him the room. Now Vilsek comes back. Now Vilsek's yet again going to try the outside as they opt to go around the hill. Around the outside at turn 5. Is there enough? Vilsek, I think, just runs a little bit wider through turn 5.
The tyres,
leakers
are a little bit more worn.
Yep, and Vilsek's got less fuel because he's got the blinking red light of doom in the bottom corner there. But it's the last lap, so he shouldn't need to worry too much about that.
Meanwhile, Resite coming out of Yon Chow.
He nearly had a moment there. That could have been deadly for his race. Imagine if he'd have led this entire race and spun it on the final corner. But
that would have been disastrous.
But he didn't do that.
Resite.
And a phenomenal race from him to win the race. Resite, like a second. Vilsek on the line tried to find a way through, but very close. 4th place VI, he's had a really, really solid performance. And as has Astro in 5th place.
Yeah, that's been a good run for 4th and 5th places. And also as well, Havoc in 6th. He's had a very quiet run since Ed jumped him in the pit stops. He's not had anyone trouble him really. This has been a very, very solid race from everybody.
Brim finishing in 7th, so so that's another. Well, it would be points for the Rod and Pollux. Fifi in 8th place, so a solid job from him, the lobby host of this evening. Rubs in 9th, and Smalley is in the top 10, so I'm sure he'll be happy with that performance.
Yeah, Smalley will be delighted to be in the top 10. That's a very, very good effort indeed.
Sean in 11th, he had an alright race. I think he was sort of screwed from that early pit stop with the damage, and Marco brings up the rear of the field. There it is then, Recite, the winner of Spinorama 123, which bodes, well, I'm going to say it bodes well for them in the season. Pole position and the fastest lap for him. But not quite a clean race, so he didn't get the triple star. There we go, that's that. Well, thank you for watching, everyone, and I'm not sure if it'll be me in the commentary next week, but yeah, the actual season starts next week and it'll be at the same time, so thank you for watching, and goodbye, I suppose. Any final words, Ash?
No, it's been a very good race, very clean race. It's been enjoyable to watch. Hopefully it'll be a sign of the season to come for everybody.
Yep, alright then. I'll end the stream here then. Thank you, and goodbye.